we will be going very shortly to go and talk to the Whanganui mayor of my old place. Gosh, it's 21 years ago since I was first elected as mayor of Whanganui. And one of the things I promised was no rate increases. Well, 21 years later, incredibly in Whanganui, the new mayor, Andrew Tripe, he's only served one term, has delivered almost the same, a 2.2 rate increase this year. How did he do it? He joins us now. Andrew, welcome to the show. How on earth did you get a 2.2 rate increase when the average rate increase in this country is still double digit this year, mate?
Well, good afternoon, Michael, sitting in your old office. So look, I guess let's go back a little bit to the environment in 2022. People probably remember Three Waters, but they also remember things starting to get tough. And indeed, in my inauguration speech, I spoke about the headwinds. Figurative headwinds are starting to blow. Interest rates are about 2% then, but the headwinds are starting to blow. And I said some of the wind will go around us, but some will come at us like a cold southerly. So on my campaign trail, I campaigned one of my 5 focus areas for a streamlined and efficient council, because my sense was that there was waste and efficiencies and savings to be made. And it's not until you lift up the bonnet that you actually see what's really going on. And what I discovered early on in my mayoralty was that it was indeed the case. There were some lots of inefficiencies and cost savings and waste to be eradicated. So I guess what I would say is I went hard, went early on my campaign promise, and sat down with the chief executive very early on. And I remember writing on the whiteboard a kind of a rough, high-level 5-point plan to bring rates down. And we've got an outstanding chief executive, and a great relationship with him. And basically, what he did, he picked up that 5-point plan, put a bit of flesh into it, and made it a 6-point plan. And as a result of going hard, going early with our 6-point plan, that it's eventuated in a 2.2% rates increase, which I understand is the lowest in the country, if not Australasia.
Okay. No, that is a significant achievement. It's the rate of inflation. That's what rates should be quietly all over the country. But good on you, Andrew. Listen, the chief executive is central to this, though, isn't it? Because many mayors like yourself come in, sit down and say, oh, well, you've promised all this, but this is the way it really works. You were an outsider coming in. I don't think you'd had any local government experience before you sat in that particular chair. Was it an advantage not to have been on local government before?
Look, to me, whether it's local government or wherever you've been, for me, in that particular time, I think there are pros and cons. Obviously, I didn't know the nuances of local government sitting around the table and the formalities of that. But what I did come in from is a consulting background with IBM and Deloitte and places like that, but also in large corporates as well. But also with a heart for the people. People think I've got a business hat on, but I also came into this role for our community. But I guess certainly the relationship between the chief executive and the mayor is critically important. We do have an outstanding chief executive, but I think that relationship goes to and fro, and if it works well, you can really deliver. And I think between the two of us and a cohesive council team, we were able to deliver that. So yeah. But look, I've always loved facing into tough and complex situations, and that's I think where many organisations or individuals are scared to face into. But I like that dark, gnarly stuff and getting into it and finding a way through it, because I always believe where there's a problem, there's a solution, and so that's what we've delivered.
Okay, no, listen, I'm interested in how many staff you have now in comparison to how many you started with.
Yeah, good question. I have that figure somewhere. Basically, as part of our 6-point plan, it's probably worthwhile giving you some context of that, because part of that was finding efficiencies. That's the second point of the plan, is improving efficiencies. The first one was population growth, because obviously with population growth, you spread the the debt
Yeah.
amongst more people. Improving efficiencies was the second one, and that was one of those was around finding quicker, faster, better ways of doing things, including staff that going through a staff restructure to ensure that we had people that were doing roles that had role clarity. They were clear about what they were doing and what they weren't doing, and as a result of that, we reduced our staff count by 20 people, which is probably about
That's a lot.
6
Yeah.
7%. But ultimately, you want to make sure that you're still delivering still delivering the same or more with that amount of people. And there's a technical term, I don't know what it's called, I've forgotten now, but back in my days of doing a bit of HR, is that sometimes when you give people more clarity around their roles, they do more. So you can actually do more with less people because they're clearer about what they do and what they don't do. So the second point around improving efficiency was reducing staff numbers and optimising staff accountability for that. That included as well as a reduction of the executive team from 6 down to 5. And what we've noticed is that there's no change in that. In fact, what it's done is that middle management have got more delegation, more accountability to get on with it, make decisions. And I think any person that comes to a role in any organisation wants to feel empowered to get on with it and do what they want to do, as opposed to having that control.
Now, the really interesting thing about that is I did exactly the same when I came in. We reduced the number of middle managers from 18 to 5. And that was where the big cost has gone. Obviously, since I left in the last, 12 years, then that gradual creep of staff and middle managers paid, over $120,000 a year has increased. You came in, saw the same problem. Is it the old story that Russ never sleeps when it comes to local government and staffing levels, is it?
Oh, look, I'd say Russ never sleeps in any organisation that's not efficient, and whether it's commercial organisations, which I've been in before and seen the same thing, and not just local government, I'd also suggest central government's the same, and I've done a bit of work for ministries down in Wellington, and I've seen that as well. But I guess rust never sleeps is a good way to describe it, but my job was to scrub away the rust and sand it off and have a shiny new car. So that's what we as a team have done, and I guess part of my promise was to deliver on my campaign promise of a more efficient and streamlined council. So that's part of the story, but not the whole story.
You would have heard my introductory comments about the kind of people who can stand for council and how exclusive local government environment is of ordinary people standing because they simply can't afford if they're a wage or salary. And I look around your council table at the moment, I think, everybody that I thought would be around that table doesn't have a full-time wage or salary position either, which is common in New Zealand. Does it concern you that local government excludes so many people with practical daily advice and experience that you could be using?
Yeah, look, absolutely it does. And, at the end of the day, we're the council, as you know, we're around the council table, you're required to make some a lot of the decisions you make are pretty easy ones, but a lot of them, we're thinking about local water done well. There's and there are other decisions coming at us. There's other decisions that we've made over the last little while which have generational impact, and so you want to make sure you've got people around the table that can make great decisions for now, near and far. And I know that, my background sitting around the executive table of corporates, there are 5 or 6 of us, and the chief executive gets to choose who sits around the table with them. I don't get that choice as a mayor. I inherit who I get, and not only that, but there are in our council 13 of us that sit around the table. For me, that's too many, but that is what it is, and that's pretty much the model around the government. And we've seen with Tauranga with their they had the commissioners there. I think 3 or 4 of them able to get on with it, and there's been a little bit of rhetoric since then that maybe that's a model that we should consider. I don't know if it's the right model, because at the end of the day we're here for the community and we need to listen to the community and that kind of thing. So look, there's no optimal way of doing things, but certainly we want to make sure that we've got the right calibre of people that sit around the table to make some pretty tough decisions. And I think our council, we're pretty good. I think we've got a really good team. But is it the right model? I don't know. It'd be a good debate to have.
Well, let's talk about that now, because at the moment, for example, Shane Jones and also the Prime Minister have suggested that we have one too many tiers of government in this country, and they're looking at regional government in particular. I was never a great fan of Horizons, I have to say, when I was there, which is the local regional council. Couldn't understand why they were there and often found them quite obstructive, but still, I just can't imagine they've changed. Do you think that we have too many tiers of government? Could Whanganui be a unitary authority like Marlborough, Tasman, Gisborne?